medicine to practice of law, Dr. Arun Mishra, and he's going to talk to us about medical legal.
Thank you. Thank you. Morning, friends. Wow. I have just discussed with sir, and a very good question raised by him. When doctors are in a very noble profession, doing a great thing for the society, without looking to the watches, saving a life of the patient, doing every act unintentionally with single intention of saving a life, should be given harsh treatment when even the minor law violation, as per our language, I'm not a good legal language, as per medical fraternity language, even it is a minor most mistakes which legal people feel. And he was just discussing about Hirandani's case. Let me start with hospital administration, where unnecessary there was a harsh punishment in the form of arrest, and that to be in non-bailable sections, where doctor have to suffer for a days or two, because the moment the non-bailable word comes, it is a discretionary power goes with the judges. If it is bailable, it is our citizens' right. And they have suffered. This not with organ transplant cases, the act related to human organ transplant. But if you look to the scenarios today, you'll agree with me, all other acts are becoming a trackless to it. Let me talk about MTP Act, which was enacted in 1971, almost 40-50 years back. Now become a trackless after 2011, and then census show that female ratios are less than a male, and that time the actual implementation of law started. Real implementation of law started. Followed by PCPDD Act, which was enacted long back in 1994. And today, lots of newer developments. Let me enlighten you with the latest development about various things which government is doing in the health sectors. But in that, one very important part is the clinical establishment, which is not yet adopted by state of Maharashtra, which has already been enacted in 2003 and amended in 2007, and sooner or later it is going to come to the state also. But the moment that also comes, everything got regulated, and futuristic development which we are going to see is in the form of everything, where somewhere government feels, somewhere politician feels, the doctor are the huge money earner, and that to win cash. I don't know, you people have read, even the government has sent a notice to MCI saying that make a mandatory for swapping an online payment to the doctors, otherwise don't renew the licenses. I'm talking about the futuristic development in health sector, where government is also planning to dissolve MCI and going to form a concept of their own, and so that everything goes in their hand and they can make a regulation to regulate the health sector. So the other good, but now question that is we are liable for harsh punishment or whatever punishment. Truly, with my experience of 10 years in medical law, handling almost 10,000 issues where not even 0.5% has gone to the court of law. Because if timely intervention is done with any experts, things changes. And there's lots of things why I say that it doesn't go in court of law. I will share during the course of interaction also. But with my experience, I say that law is really good for the doctor. Rather, it is very good for the doctor. But we suffer because we don't have any understanding of it. We are laymen in legal language, or we are laymen in the law. We are masters in medical science, but not at all known to law science. And whatever we have got the knowledge is in bitten part by attending some conferences or by discussing with some people or maybe guided by some advocate, where interpretation always changes. And we follow the same, and when issue comes, we always go with that and we get trouble. Rightly, if at all I advise you, even in situation we rush to any advocate. I am talking about any situation where you get threatened that there could be some issue which can trouble me in a court of law. What we do, immediately we call upon some of advocate friends or through some friends, some advocate, and then we discuss with them. And the advocate are advocates. And two things very well work with them, which work with every profession. They will always wanted to have a clients. So their way of discussing, in spite of having a knowledge about the same, is going to be different. Second, they don't have a knowledge of particular things. Why is it that? Very simple, that if you are in one field, you will be expert in that field. I'll give example. Okay, 10 years later, if I go to some gynecologist and show some complicated ECG to her and tell her, can you interpret? Because she was basically done MBBS or taught every time. But 10 years down the line, she was expertise in her field and never came in contact with such a thing because dependency on physician. So the interpretation is going to be difficult for her that particular time. Same happens with advocates. They are masters in regular cases. Like Maramari ka case 324 to 223, or if it will go ahead, it could be a rape case, it could be murder case, because that is a regular, but medical cases hardly they get. And they are not getting a medical cases, naturally they have to depend on the theoretical part. And when you go to them, they always think about theories, and then you guided by them, and there the trouble starts. But with my experience, I say law is really, really, really good for the doctors.
Law is good for every profession.
No, law is good for, I am talking about medical science. I am talking about medical legal science. I am not talking about any legal science. When it is limited topic which I am discussing with the doctors, I am focusing on only medical part, medical law. But important thing is we should know about the law, at least basic things. Where if at all any issue comes, if at all I have got some knowledge of that, I can really deal particular issue at that particular moment with a particular knowledge. And that is why we are banging on every doctor to at least have a basics. Today I came here with that intention only. When Sanjay called me and wanted to have interaction, wanted to have such a lectures, I very openly told him, I don't believe in PPT. If I go by PPT, it is going to be never ending story. Secondly, I don't want to go one way, because one way means whatever I want to give you, you are going to get. Probably your issues and problems will remain like that, because in 1 hour I cannot cover the huge science or losses. So best way is to have interaction, so that you can talk about your issues which you are facing related to your particular environment, industry and day-to-day activities. And with that, if at all I revert to that, all the people are going to have a same problem. So you will be properly going to get a benefit of my present with my experience. When it comes to hospital, lots of issues comes, right? DRR status rule comes, which many of the time we don't know what to do. The issues related to documentation and certification comes, which many times we are just guided. I'll just give an example so that I'll be more clearer, because many of the housemen also here. I am fighting a Sabu Siddiqui's case here, corporate hospital at somewhere in South Mumbai. What was happened in that case? A patient fallen from building during the construction, got fracture, was brought to this particular hospital. Orthopedic surgeon has examined, done all sort of activity. He has done the surgery, plating. Patient was absolutely fine. MLC was done as per the rule, because it was accidental case. 8-9 days patient was absolutely fine. 9th day patient got convulsion. Immediately report to neurosurgeon. Neurosurgeon immediately came, being a corporate, people available. he has seen, written on a paper, query, reasons for the convulsions, further investigations to be done, and naturally next day he is going to visit the hospital, so accordingly he advised. Same day night, patient got multiple convulsions, become a critical, and expired. This is what a whole story. Reason was unknown. Immediately, discussion started among the people. Being a Muslim patient, postmortem always, in all the cases, although people doesn't want to do a postmortem. But here, they said कि सर 10 दिन का तो था, 10 दिन तो एडमिट था. ऐसा नहीं कि immediately surgical death हुआ है. Reason भी natural हो सकता है. Why don't we go for DC? काफी discussion हुआ. Doctor were not at all interested. They said कि let be sent for the postmortem. But probable cause of death, the administrator of the hospital has told RMO to at least discuss with treating consultant and take a probable cause of death, so that at least we can inform to the police. If query, this could have been the reason. Accordingly, she has noted down on a IPT paper probable cause of death. Naturally, they have mentioned cardiac arrest due to convulsion, due to fractures. This is what was advised by neurosurgeon also, was advised by orthosurgeon also. Night RMO gone, given over to morning RMO. Another lady, unaware about the fact what has all happened, what she was knowing was given in over that probable cause of death लिखा हुआ है, ये है body को postmortem part में भेजने का plan हुआ है. These are the thing. But meanwhile, naturally, contractor wanted, and then they have gone to administrator, and administrator has immediately told RMO कि तुमको consultant ने already probable cause of death दे दिया है, तो तुम death certificate दे रहा. Now she is working lady there. She was not aware about the things. She said कि सर postmortem भेजेंगे, पुलिस पे लिखा हुआ है तुम्हारा IPT पेपर में दे डालो. But inform the police. Night they have informed the police. Morning again she informed the police कि ऐसा ऐसा हो गया. Police came. Police also came. They have discussed with administrator, among all the people and discussed, and in front of police DC was given. Now tell me what was the fault of a doctors? In my opinion, there was no.
Police supposed to say
Send for the postmortem. Police supposed to, if at all wanted, I'll give a legal remedy in that. In such a cases where even the MLCs are there, where police has been called on, and still if doctor feels that cause of death is known to me, I have done in many of the hospitals, many of the cases where doctor feel that cause of death is known and they wanted to do a PM. PM is there for what? For knowing the cause of death. And naturally death certificate is what? It is a statistical data which is good to the government. So when cause of death is known, police always says कि doctor तुमको मालूम है, we don't have any objection to dispose of the body. See, either we will dispose of the body through PM or through you. If you are certifying, we will issue a NOC, which is known as Form 4A. If you can adopt that policies also, so that you are legally safe. If we don't have any objection for disposing of the body when cause of death is known, it doesn't mean that investigation stopped. So they are in safer side. So that process was not. And what happened? Later, something mischief happened in particular case. After 1 month, police has filed a case against orthosurgeon. Police has filed a case against Neil because body was already disposed on the basis of death certificate.
Was the CT or MRI done or not on that patient?
No, because he has advised on 9th day. And same night patient died.
In the whole 24 hours it was not done?
No, that was not done. Truly not done. No, agreed. Not, it is not done. But next day morning they were planned. These are things which normally happens, but the question was not that. Question was that when DC was given in such a case, I am talking about that particular part, I am relating to the medical.
Also this is wrong. It should have been done.
Right. It should have been done, and it should have been done, and if at all it is
The
not.
patient is getting convulsions on the 9th day.
And same night.
Emergency.
Agreed.
Obviously.
It is emergency. Agreed. Then this particular case, even if at all patient died, this case attracts 304A, that is the cause of medical negligence. I am talking about medical. Even if at all we miss something, like doing something which should not be done, or doing something which probably other people would have not done, missing, omission or commission of something is negligence. If this is omission, as per you, you don't have attracted medical negligence case, no? But what happened in this case? Try to understand the case and listen the case, because why I am sharing with you, because you are also in the same footing. The case got registered against orthosurgeon, neurosurgeon, RMO under section 197. What it says? Giving a false certificate. The DC. What was letter in between intervened sent to the postmark. Even PM says the same due to multiple trauma, where in DC also there was mention of fracture. Second, 201, wiping of evidence of a crime by giving a death certificate and disposing of the body. 304A has not been applied as per as medical negligence case concerned, because that was a allegation on contractor. Why I am sharing this? What my friend has directly and very correctly said, even no fault of a doctor, we get legal trouble. And then what remedies we have got? I'll tell you, we have been given a lots of remedies in Constitution itself. But we don't follow because probably we don't have knowledge of that. But it very clearly says that wherever you feel that there is wrong done against you, you sense that there is going to be an inquiry, there is going to be an arrest, or there is going to be threat of arrest, or there could be possibilities. Constitution is given a very, very clear remedies under 227, 226 to file a writ petition in High Court for your cause. Even after FIR get lodged, then also law has given remedies under Article 32 to file SLPs apart from anticipatory bail. I am talking about these. But we never ever been guided by an advocate to go immediately. See what will happen. In many of the cases, immediately stay is granted by High Court and order issued कि you investigate. Even Supreme Court has said कि unless and until committee open eyes in Jacob Matthews case, no one should arrest professionals, that is law, because you are not an expert. This was a word used. The judges are not experts in medical science. Advocates are not experts in medical science. No, not to poke a nose. Always have an expert's opinion. But in many of the cases, expert opinion has not been taken because law has been twisted accordingly. And we don't go for the remedies. And we don't opt for the remedies. That's the reason we suffer. It's not that many of the people, if you see, if you read the newspaper, in every cases where big shots are involved, right from corruption to everything, they have been guided by good lawyers. And they always opt for the remedies. They immediately file writ or they will file SLP, they will go immediately to court and they're spending. This is what is happening, which we have read. It is a special leave petition which can file in Supreme Court. But we doctor, I don't probably may not be properly guided by advocate, but we have got remedies. We can really opt for the remedies. I'll give a very lively example of latest case of nomination which was happened and was very paper highlighted case of Dr. Sheetal Kamath, where Bachu died about, the allegation was made, I don't know if you have read that, and 500 and 1,000 notes, so issue was created in Govandi.
Yeah.
If you read that, I had handled that case, and again I'll tell you, no arrest was done because I have opted a legal remedies there. I challenge that police station and senior PI ki, I challenge you if you can arrest my doctor. And I know what was conspired there. He was requesting me, sir, आप देखो मोर्चा चालू है SP का, आप देखो मोर्चा चालू है सारे पार्टीज का, एवरी डे है, हमको ऊपर से प्रेशर है, हमको मिनिस्ट्री को बताना है. मैं बोला लेकिन आप इन्वेस्टिगेट तो करो क्या केस है. But what was happening in that case? That lady earlier day came to this gynecologist with a sonography report where she has already told a patient that कि 1.5 किलो का बच्चा है, you have to be very careful. And soft uterus examination के बाद anytime you can deliver. So be cautious and anything comes immediately contact. This was guided by gynecologist, even mentioned on paper. Next day morning, she got vomiting, she phoned a doctor. Doctor was kind enough, she said immediately bring to my hospital, let me check because if symptoms are showing that she may deliver. And that time she also told कि भाई 1.5 किलो का बच्चू है, premature delivery हो गई तो NICU लगेगा. 1 घंटे के बाद पेशेंट का फोन आता है कि घर पे डिलीवरी हो गई. अब घर पे डिलीवरी हो गई है तो नेचुरली डॉक्टर ने बोला कि डिलीवरी हो गई तो अब तो लेके आ जाओ. आई एम रीचिंग आउट, शी रीच्ड Being a gynecologist, her important fact was immediately to treat a female. She has cleaned everything, placenta part was removed, everything was fine, but Bachu was needing an ICU. Their hospital was not having an ICU facility. She told patient and relative, कि भाई why don't you take to some of the hospital? There is two options. Either you can admit mother for further treatment where it will cost nominal because delivery is already happened, or my advice that if child and mother is together, you will be helpful. So go to Sion Hospital because the issue of denomination immediately started on 9th. There could be a possible that कि both लोग के पास नहीं रहेगा, and patient was also requesting the same. She has given referring note, but instead of going to the since बच्चू was fine at 1.5 kilo का, the relative instead of going to the hospital gone home. 2 दिन के बाद they have gone to GP owned hospital there and taken a treatment for the fever, and that also Dr. GP has not advised accordingly. 2 days later, it was shifted to some pediatrician, and by the time it reaches, patient died. लेकिन allegation क्या हुआ था? And the पत्रकार लोगों ने they put a word in your mouth because they want to highlight the issues. जब ये अरेस्ट की बात आई थी, FIR लॉन्च हुआ था, तो मैं आपको बताऊं मैंने लीगल रेमेडीज क्या किया, मैं आपको ही बताता हूँ. There is a beautiful amendment done in 2013 in CRPC which governs the criminal procedure of law. 2013 में there was a beautiful amendment done which was earlier done but objected by advocate. That amendment was done to reduce under trials in a jail. And that amendment was saying कि जिस भी केस के अंदर punishment less than 7 years है. That's a very good thing which I am sharing with you all people. Any section where punishment is less than 7 years. There was amendment done in 41, section 41, capital A. Small a was it. It says कि if there is a punishment below 7 years in any section and police feel then in such a cases notice to be issued for investigation, no arrest to be done. Further to that, it is mentioned that कि if the accused is following the notice and supporting in investigation, then arrest must not be done. Third में लिखा है if arrest to be done, there will be proper reasoning to be done. लेकिन हमारे यहाँ उसको फॉलो ही नहीं करते, किसी पुलिस स्टेशन को पता भी नहीं. आप जाओ नॉर्थ में, जजेस अगर ऐसे कोई केस लेके आए तो वो चिल्लाते, क्योंकि आप देखोगे तो 70 नहीं, rather 80% प्लस केसेस सेक्शन जो है बिलो 7 years, बारिंग मर्डर, बारिंग रेप, बारिंग द ह्यूज क्राइम, बिग क्राइम, सबके अंदर पनिशमेंट इज लेस देन 7 years, उसके अंदर 10 years लाइफ इम्प्रिजनमेंट है. मतलब कि हमारे डॉक्टरों से रिलेटेड 304 है 2 साल का है. वर्स्ट अगर बोलते हैं जैसे डॉक्यूमेंट्स के बारे में बात करो तो भी 7 साल का है. आई एम टॉकिंग वर्स्ट. तो हमारे यहाँ सेक्शंस नहीं है जो डॉक्टर को 7 साल के ऊपर है तो हमको वैसे भी अरेस्ट नहीं होना. मैंने ये किया था. I said the police station कि ठीक है you lodge FIR, you have been pressurized now, you lodge FIR, I'll quash the FIR, but for my sake you issue a letter under Section 41A. एक बार उन्होंने लेटर इशू कर दिया तो फिर सब खत्म ना. कि उसको मैं लेके गया, हाजिर हुआ, स्टेटमेंट दिया, लेके आया, नो अरेस्ट. So remedies are there, but we don't know the remedies, and that's the reason we fall in the hand of such a people where they also are probably unknown, they are also in a routine work, and then we get trouble. That's the reason my advice to every single doctor, the days had already come, you need to upgrade yourself. क्योंकि आज हम लोग जो जी रहे हैं, we are in a country where 70% we say is youngsters, less than 35 years age, around 68%. The figure means around 80 crores population of this country is below 35 years age, and they are the masters in internet. And control of house has gone in the hand of the child. You are no more a controller. Fridge लेना है तो they decide, TV लेना है तो they decide, 18 साल का बच्चा decide, मोबाइल लेने का तो 22 साल का बच्चा, और उसके बाद आज डॉक्टर के पास जाना है तो they decide. इसलिए तो प्रॉक्टर केयर जैसे लोगों का बिजनेस चल रहा है. ऑनलाइन सब डॉक्टर मिलते हैं, बाजू में सब डॉक्टर मिलते हैं, दे आर मास्टर्स. नाउ द फेथ फैक्टर हैज शेकन कि मुझे यही डॉक्टर के पास जाना है, एंड दैट्स द रीजन वी इमीडिएटली गो, एंड दैट्स द रीजन दैट वी आर इन एन एरा वेयर इफ एट ऑल वी आर uneducated, basics also in a law, trouble cannot be avoided. Because I don't know you are experiencing or not, but my experience with the calls which I receive across the country, over the smaller issues also, patients have become patienceless. For smaller issues also. Their way of talking to the doctors, distress, disaffect doctors, everything is increased. लेकिन अगर आपके पास थोड़ा सा knowledge है ना, and that's the reason we have also started education programs from organization free of charge, because my ambition is to create a confidence among the doctor by giving a law knowledge. Single reason is that if you treat 200 patients, you are the important part of society. So if you are confident, they will get a proper treatment. Shaking hands से तुम surgery कर पाओगे क्या? डरा हुआ दिल कभी भी proper treatment नहीं करता. बंगाली doctors are practicing very well. उनको मालूम ही नहीं पेनिसिलिन का क्या रिएक्शन. लेकिन educated doctor को पक्का मालूम है दूंगा एनाफिलेक्टिक आ जाएगा. You don't use, they use. And only fear that कि we are unaware of the law. अगर confident होके practice करोगे, practice के बाद results patient को मिलेंगे. आपके प्रोफेशन का कुछ फायदा है और उसको कॉन्फिडेंस लाने के लिए आज के जनरेशन में लॉ का नॉलेज होना चाहिए. So we educate you people. We have got various methodology, technologies and advanced ones. We have got technologies, WhatsApp है, email है, lots of them. Every day I send thousands of mail to every doctor with the latest development law. Single reason that कि भी फुर्सत में 5 मिनट पढ़ भी लेगा तो something goes in mind, because even Gautam Buddha has said ignorance is cause of suffering, and further remedies was given. If you want to cease the suffering, replace ignorance with the knowledge. Suffering ceases. Simple. If you really don't want to suffer with the medical law, replace your ignorance with the knowledge. So I am here for that purpose. Instead of going one way, I love you to interact, ask a question related to your profession, related to issues which you are facing. Let it be your personal practice, professional practice, or hospital practice. Openly ask me the question. I'll definitely guide you, because some of the examples I've got huge examples. Any question you'll ask, probably I may have handled such a cases, so that you get a knowledge of that. Otherwise, one-sided तो आप मेरे को बोलोगे तो मैं 4 घंटा बोलते रहूँगा. It is never going story. So I invite you all people to have an interaction, and if you don't have an interaction, तो 2-4 टॉपिक मैं ले लूँगा डॉक्यूमेंटेशन पे, MLCs पे, 2-4 चीजें मैं आपको बता दूँगा कि भाई MLC में क्या इश्यूज, क्योंकि MLC is one of the greatest issue which is very important, क्योंकि एक्सीडेंट केसेस we cannot run away. MLC के बारे में बताऊँ कि even we ignore smaller things, कि सिगरेट का चटका लेके आवे या हस्बैंड ने मारा हो, आपने कितना भी समझाया होगा कि मैडम तुम जाके हॉस्पिटल तुमको इतना वायलेंस किया है, why don't you file a police case? The female immediately says, मालकांचा हक्क मारायचं, मालकाने मारलं तर चालेल, म्हणजे I am a slave, husband is a मालक. That is what is the tendency in a female. He has got all the right to beat me, but after 3 months, guided by some of the NGOs, they go and file a domestic violence case, and then your prescription 3 months back, which you have given for the treatment, and you are not an MLC, was shown as evidence, and then you get a call from the police. कि मैडम तुमच्याकडे 3 महीना आधी आला होता. And 3 months before, when this patient came to you, why you have not informed me? See, I am just giving a simple example of MLCs which is happening. The hospital in this is where lots of things I can share about MLCs. But MLC is another issue, documentation is another issue. I'll go on that part, but once you start interacting with me, so that it becomes more interesting, because it is for you I came here. So I am there to solve your issues. Your issues are very important to me. प्रॉब्ली मेरे पास नॉलेज नहीं होगा तो मैं तुमको बोल दूंगा आई एम सॉरी, नेक्स्ट टाइम मैं आपको मेल पे डाल दूंगा, क्योंकि मैं भी लर्निंग के लिए आता हूँ यहाँ पे. मैं मास्टर नहीं, परफेक्ट नहीं, बट लर्निंग आपसे ही मिलती मुझे. यस सर.
About the 40A amendment that the police is supposed to know. I'm quite surprised that they don't know this.
No, same police station.
So same thing what I'm trying to say is, laws are there, everything is there,
Yes.
fine, but life does not go in on ground basis. Reality is quite different.
नहीं, reality because we don't do awareness.
So what exactly happens ultimately when a doctor faces a situation like this? He cannot contract the law, or the police officers who are very dominant, who are very rough, and a doctor is a very mild person compared to them. Go with a lawyer like you, probably you can attack them. Without many lawyers like you. But so what happens is that ultimately the man, without knowing the law, goes behind bars or whatever happens, the media blows it up, and that's the reality of the situation. I can give you a lot of examples. I'm a gynecologist, and I had resident doctors been attacked by people just because baby didn't cry after birth. So these are things. So when you go to fight the law, all these issues start coming up. You have the political parties getting into the picture, and we as gynecologists, if you realize, in the international survey, 34% of the obstetricians have stopped doing obstetric practice because of the medical ambulance chasers like lawyers. Therefore, I think it's not as simple as it's portrayed. Because my colleague was also a medical legal, Dr. Gopinath Shenoy.
I know.
You know him well.
I know.
And the cases that we hear in practically on ground are quite different. And what the law is fine. If you read the paper of other instances also, molesters are there, law is there, nothing happens. So the point is, what I'm trying to say is, if the awareness also brought to the police officers, they don't seem to carry it out because a lot of pressures and other factors are operative also. It's just not that. Now how do you counter these situations? Like for example, you gave this Sabu Siddiqui case of DC. Now we had a case 25 years ago of a woman, I performed a cesarean section. Perfectly straightforward, breech presentation, everything went off, one of the best seasons we thought we had done. With no complaint. Patient was back to the wards under spinal, and she was talking to her mother-in-law, and suddenly she fought in the mouth and she died. She just died in front of them. And they were from the underworld, by the way. And when she died, I was called in and I said, I'll ask for a PA. And because everything for me was very clear. But when we asked for the PA, the man begged off my feet, please, as it typically said, we don't want a PA. I said, I will not take that decision. We have to be firm. You cannot get carried by probable cause of death. But then I spoke to the coroner. I said, if you are giving me the permission, I will DC. And only when the coroner gave the permission, I gave the DC, things ended well. But not necessarily all the time they go so smoothly.
Your question and your answer also. But I'll tell you, friends, I'm sorry, I'll continue with you. But my answer to, he has already given a solution, but to all the people. My answer to, who are the people who are going to make awareness? We cannot sit on a chair and wait that president is going to do, secretary is going to do, association is going to do. One man can start a journey. It can be you if you are a sufferer. I was a sufferer when I was doing my medical practice. I was a sufferer. And that's the reason why I jumped in law. I had done a law to know where I was wrong. I have done my law, LLM. I have done my LLM. And that time this idea came into my mind. If law is so good, why not I start protecting my doctors? Why not I start this particular journey so that if I could reach to 10 people also, my concern is solved. I have started journey. And in journey, I have learned a lot. And today, with all evidence I can say, around 30 calls, 20 calls every day I get from the country. I have taken a lecture for the Global of Bangalore also. I get lots of from the consultant of Global from Bangalore. For all smaller issues, they warn me. See, I say that if you are not expert, have an expert with you. See, it's not possible for you to read a huge book, you don't have a time. But at least have experts. You keep a driver for yourself. Because you don't know the driving, you are an expert. You keep a CA because you are not expert in finance. So why not have an expert with you? And it should go with mass. One. Secondly, why don't you take a charge for awareness? Any act which comes in country is first being displayed on a net or a newspaper to invite the objections from the concerned people. Tell me how many people answers to that? Even we read in Times of India this act is going to enact it and invite it, we ignore. ये काम secretary का है. We immediately phone to president. अरे बाबा ऐसा ऐसा है, हमें president है तू जरा देख.
But we
By
don't
aims-
remember this coming in the paper about the act coming and they're inviting our comment.
Every act. We don't know, that is different issue. You go on net, every act.
No, going on net is
No, I am talking about every
But you
act
can't-
is displayed. First invitation is asked from the all affected person.
But where is
Whichever
it
act
displayed?
displayed everywhere. Government does that arrangement in newspapers, internet, in their websites. You go on website, whichever newer act is coming, you will find lots of. You just put medical acts which is coming, and they have invited with the dates. We don't know. That's the reason we don't go. But our concern is a medical law. Why not we?
Yeah.
डालो ना ऑब्जेक्शन, बिकॉज वंस इट इज बिकम एक्ट वी नीड टू फॉलो. इस पीसीएमएनटी बना, आज क्लरिकल मिस्टेक्स के लिए हम परेशान हो रहे हैं, लेकिन वो क्लरिकल मिस्टेक्स का उस टाइम पे ऑब्जेक्शन क्यों नहीं है? सब शांत बैठे थे. एमटीपी एक्ट 1971 में बना था जब उन्होंने कॉजेस दिया था. आज इफेक्ट आया कि नहीं? बिलीव मी, 1860s में हमारा आईपीसी बना है जिसके ऊपर पूरी कंट्री चल रही, इंडियन पेनल कोड. इट वाज इनेक्टेड बाय ब्रिटिशर्स इन 1860. आज क्या चल रहा है? 2017, we are in 2017. 1860, the situation, the population, the people, the crime, the things at that particular time was absolutely different. Just read IPC, how many sections has been amended and what extent is amended. Rather it should be scrapped off and new law should be formed. Government is thinking on that, but they should get a time. They are doing also. Many of the laws have been scrapped. But still we are with that particular law. तो आज की तारीख में जैसा आपने बोला कि every moment we are violating a law. इनको नहीं मालूम, उनको वही मालूम जिसमें उनको फायदा, उनको वही लॉ समझता. और आपने एक्सपीरियंस सबने किया होगा, तो उनको भी वही पता है जो उनके काम का है. लेट इट बी एनी एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव अथॉरिटी. लेकिन हमको तो जानना चाहिए ना थोड़ा सा. अरे नहीं मालूम है, जब कॉज आता तब तो किसी एक्सपर्ट से डिस्कस करो. एक्सपर्ट्स तुमसे चार्ज नहीं करता, बट हैव अ डिस्कशन, हैव अ करेज टू डिस्कस. नेट पे जाके थोड़ी सी इंफॉर्मेशन गैदर करो एंड देन स्पीक टू द पीपल. नथिंग हैपेंस. मैं जिस तरह से पोर्ट्रेट कर रहा हूं ना वैसी है, प्रैक्टिकली वैसी है. मैं पोर्ट्रेट नहीं कर रहा हूं, मैं अपने एक्सपीरियंस को आपको शेयर कर रहा हूं. लॉ इज रियली गुड, दैट इज माय वर्ड. इन 10,000 केसेस 0.05% भी कोर्ट में नहीं गया सर. मैं एंजियोप्लास्टिक डेथ, मैं आपको टेबल डेथ की बात करूं, गायनिक में हंड्रेड्स ऑफ टेबल डेथ मैंने हैंडल किया हुआ. हंड्रेड्स ऑफ टेबल डेथ देखते हैं. वो डिलीवरी डेथ हो, फोर्सेप डिलीवरी डेथ हो, वैक्यूम डिलीवरी डेथ हो, प्राइस इश्यू हो, सडन डेथ हो. सरप्राइज होता हूं जब लोग आके बोलते हैं, आई मेट दैट राजस्थान के गायनेकोलॉजिस्ट, इफ यू नोइंग द केस, शी वाज बिहाइंड द बार फॉर 62 days फॉर डेथ आफ्टर डिलीवरी, 6:30 आफ्टर डिलीवरी. व्हाई? बिकॉज she was booked under 304 part 2 in spite of having opinion from the expert committee. Let me share that case to you. This is very interesting. The patient got admitted to her hospital, normal delivery was done, patient was absolutely fine, patient was recovering. 5th day or 6th day suddenly she died, as you shared, and she advised, let us do a PM and find out the reason. But mob came, influential people came, everyone influenced, and she was immediately, FIR was registered against them, against this team, even the gynecologist, under 304 part 2. Now what is this all? Just try to understand the law. 304A is a normal section which is applied to the doctor, the professional. I am talking about medical law. I am not talking about. Now what 304A says in IPC? Causing a death without intention, with a negligent act. Like I am driving a car and I dash some person. My intention was not to kill that guy, but my intention was not there. That's the reason comes under negligent. Like even if you see, Gopinath Mudde died because of accident. The driver was immediately released. Even with Salman Khan's case, 4 people died. He was immediately released. So that is what is 304A. And 304A is a bailable offence. That's the reason they have been released immediately. 304A is bailable means it is my right. Even judges is against you, they cannot keep you behind the bar. That is your right. But now government is amending that section also. They are in already process of amending 304A so that every people can be taken care of, like more of motor accident case. So naturally we come in a picture. It is not with the reference to doctors, it is with reference to the motor accident case. Now 304(2), that is a plain 304. What it says? Causing a death without intention, with a knowledge. Only word is added, with a knowledge. That particular thing can cause a death. Now with a knowledge means if I have drunk and drive and caused a death. Like in Salman Khan's case, it was upgraded. When it came down during deposition that he was drunk, the section was changed. Now 304 is a section where I have got a knowledge that I am doing this act and this can cause a death. Like example, if cross-pathy doctor has given a overrun injection, I am talking about BHMS, and patient died. Now doctor was having a knowledge that Overon has got a side effect which can cause anaphylactic shock and death. And he has given, knowledge was there, and he has given, and patient died. So causing a death without intention was not there, with the knowledge. And this is 10 years punishment, non-variable offense. Like in that gynae case, many other cases. I'll give example where I quoted and I went to High Court also, where patient was referred by GP to the hospital for appendectomy, mentioned in the paper. Surgeon has done the surgery, during the surgery, patient expired. And when FIR was lodged, police has lodged the FIR under 304A and 304 Part 2. When I discussed with senior PI, he said कि PP का opinion है. मैं बोला why PP का opinion? बोला PP ने लिखा हुआ है कि particular hospital was not having a backup facility like ICU. In spite of surgeon knowing that every surgery has got a complication which can lead to death, he don't have a backup facilities. Means every GPs who give the injection should have everything. Right to emergency, try to move back to oxygen is rendered to intubate. Are you understanding? Means backup facility. And then GP was also. Why? GP was knowing that particular hospital was not having a facility and is referred. What you said in Hirandani case, para 34. That 34 section IPC section 34 says common intention of causing a crime, and that 34 has pulled down the doctor in Hirandani case. Crime was done by one guy. He is the main accused. But 34 says common intention. Means you have not done the counseling, means your intention was also common. You have not followed the law, your intention was, there was no intention of a doctor. And the doctor are going to get absolutely clarity. If you have got a friend, tell them to file a writ petition only on the ground of intention. Only on the ground of intention. Because intention is a very important ingredient in crime. That's the reason, if no intention, then it has got lighter punishment. That is variable. Intention. And no doctor have got intention to kill anyone. And that's the reason why I say, you tell me now how many doctors got a conviction? One doctor has got a conviction of Bombay Hospital, if you know. That is one day conviction in cancer specialist, if you know that paper mein highlighted case, where in spite after 18 years of trial, 32 years of trial, and then court has convicted doctor for one day because uske andar punishment क्या 0 to 2 years. So 0 means it is a discretionary power, but one day इसलिए दिया कि सुबह 10 बजे बैठो 5 बजे कोर्ट से जाओ सजा हो गई. But that doctor has also gone to Supreme Court and acquittal was given. मेरे को बताओ ना कितने conviction केस है. हाँ, पहले जो trouble है वो trouble हमारा इसलिए होता है because we are unaware about the law. And आपने बोला ना कौन जाके उनसे झगड़ेगा कौन, अरे झगड़ने की जरूरत नहीं है. You need to have an expert. Why? Expert just put you with the knowledge. That's all. And with that knowledge, when you talk, they know you are educated. Educated in law. I am talking about educated in doctor. Educated in law. So they also fear because उनको भी ऊपर responsibility है. उनको भी डर है. ये बंदा अगर हाई कोर्ट में चले जाएगा तो मेरी नौकरी जाएगी. मैंने कई केसेस में किया है सर, पुलिस ऑफिसर को धीरे से काम में जाके बोलता हूँ 197 में तेरे ऊपर मैं केस कर सकता हूँ CRPC में, इसलिए गलत काम मत करना. और करने वाला है तो नहीं करता. क्यों? क्योंकि उनको भी मालूम है कि these are the people who are educated people. But we fall in prey. We fear with the law. In spite of not doing any wrong, we fall in their trap. And then reason you all know, I don't want to disclose the reason, but we get trouble. But practically, if you do a proper documentation, proper treatment, nothing is going to happen. But documentation is only important evidence which we have got, because that is in written, and written prevails over the oral. Written, I'll give example. I have gone to one hospital to handle a case where peritonsillar abscess was done by ENT surgeon. Patient got admitted 2 o'clock. Next day there was Eid. Patient was Muslim. Doctor also wanted to discharge the patient, but one day admission was advised. 2 o'clock, patient got admitted. Plus investigation was sent. 4 o'clock, doctor has taken investigation report on phone. As usual, routine habit. 5 o'clock, patient was posted to OT. 5:36, medical accident happened. Patient has come to death. Doctor has done all the paperwork. which was needed. And then police was called, sent for the postmortem. Police has taken all IPD papers with them. Whatever paperwork was done, because physician was called immediately. And when you go to the committee opinion, I'll tell you the committee opinion. Committee opinion is doctors. They have mentioned 2-3 important factors in that. When fraud was observed, why I say documentation, try to listen what I am sharing with your people, the live case. When fraud was observed, a very clear case of edema, why Lasix injection given after 45 minutes? Letter. Means doctor must have given diuretic at the time, but while writing the timings on a left side, probably timing would have been mismatched. But that is also seen by the law. Are you understanding? Another comment, when 100% oxygen was needed, why Ambubai was used? Third, investigation, either investigation not done, because police has taken a paper immediately. The investigation was already done, but it was only taken on a phone. कि कल फाइल में लगा देंगे, किसको मालूम है डेथ होने वाला है? डेथ होने का तो फाइल में तो लगा ही नहीं, police has got the file. Now it is oral, na? And they have mentioned either investigation not done, but since it was a doctors, they know कि before surgery 100% investigation is done. So they mentioned or not documented. What was used? Or not documented, because it is very clear fact. If the committee opinion, the person who give a committee opinion is the doctors, and doctor know कि मेरा बंदा सर्जरी के पहले mandatory blood investigation किया होगा, लेकिन उनका रिकॉर्ड नहीं था ना. When I gone to the court to take a bail of these doctors, 304A was applied. 45 minutes argument was done by the public prosecutor for denying the bail, and he said that the section implied by the police officer is wrong. Instead of 304A, it should be 304 part 2, that is 304 plain, which is non-variable. And he had presented to court the meaning of the line of a committee opinion, कि either investigation not done or not documented. This line he has told to the court कि sir, law is absolute. Pregnant है या प्रेग्नेंट नहीं है, बीच का कोई रास्ता नहीं होता. तो या तो नहीं किया है या डॉक्यूमेंट किया, दो रास्ता नहीं है. नहीं किया इज राइट एंड इन्वेस्टिगेशन इज नॉट डन, एंड डॉक्टर हैज प्रोसीडेड विदाउट इन्वेस्टिगेशन. सो दे वर हैविंग अ नॉलेज दैट पर्टिकुलर थिंग कैन कॉज इट. So we have fighted and we got the bail, that is different story altogether. So but why I am sharing this?
Anticipatory bail.
No, it was a regular bail.
So they were arrested.
No, arrested means what? 304 there is no arrest. It is paper arrest.
304 is not arrest.
It is not arrest. It is a paper arrest. You have to just go to the court and take a bail. That is regular bail because you are bailable offence. Police has also got a power to give bail out, but they don't do. So we get within 5 minutes we get a bail. Even you get a bail. It's not very big deal. So why I am sharing this documentation part? When you do a documentation, you should have a sense what you are doing. I have gone to critical hospital to handle the case where piles surgery was done and GA was given and patient is come to death. He has not came out of GA and he was a son of a some doctor. Doctors have filed a case first thing on that ground. Given spinal anesthesia can be given in particular case. Why GA was opted? 11 crores rupees. It is a national commission. Are you understanding? Because documentation plays very important role. Try to understand. If you do a proper documentation, whatever investigation you have done, is it properly mentioned? Nothing happens to you. Because law says, medical accident in Jacob Matthew case, Supreme Court has given a guidelines and that they have mentioned कि medical accident, even in the form of a death, this was the word used. Doctor must not be held responsible in a criminal medical negligence case. This was a word. But further into that, what they mentioned, if due care has not been given. Due care means कि being a doctor, you know that complication हो गया है. अब complication तो हो गया है, but complication को revive करने के लिए अगर आपने act नहीं किया है, then it has not been given a care. like registration process, what you do, if you do not mention documentation, then you become responsible. Like what you rightly said, deficiency of services. कि अगर CT नहीं किया है, तो that comes under deficiency services. तो चीजें आती हैं. हम लोग, मैं भी जुपिटर हॉस्पिटल का केस लड़ने गया था. डोजेस के ऊपर 1 करोड़, खाली डोजेस ऑफ एंटीबायोटिक. मिम सेज एंटीबायोटिक का नाम मेरे याद नहीं आ रहा है. कि patient was in septicemia, huge dose of this given, normal dose is 2 gram a day. It was 6 gram, 2 gram TDS was applied. Patient died, and that particular patient, rather he was a brother of a doctor. The doctors catch hold of that particular part, and then he found out